Scott, let's go ahead and take a look first at, let's load the old schedule board and show the difference between how fast the old schedule board loads and the new schedule board loads.
Okay, here
So
we
from
go.
the environment here, we're going to load the old schedule board.
So here's the old one. So all of you familiar with the loading symbols, right? And that's still not too bad, right?
Right,
But I don't. You can see. I mean, this is a demo environment. There's not a whole lot of, or a sandbox, I should say. Doesn't have a whole lot of data.
right.
Okay,
But
so
then when we go to the new schedule board, that lights up much faster. And you also notice that it's a much cleaner, crisper experience visually. You can see we have our filters pane just like we have in the old schedule board, where we can search by characteristics, resource types, pool types, teams, etc. And then you have our list of resources in the middle, with their photos and all the same kind of functions that you had in the previous schedule board for those resources.
yep.
Some of the improvements that I really like is in the way that the schedule board is laid out with the actual work orders or service activities or requirements that you're scheduling. We talked off mic about how the coloring is much cleaner and a little more transparent, not as dark, which is great.
Yeah.
And I really like, looking at the legend on the far right. I really like how they're adding more and more icons to the different scheduled requirements to give even more color and detail around what's happening. So you could see, for example, on 0048 work order, it has the traveling icon. So you can see the little suitcase there in the right corner, that they're traveling, as opposed to 00034, that's just a scheduled work order.
Yep. And what I like about it, what they've done is they've taken out that whole concept of really understanding what the color is showing you, right?
Right.
There's so many of us out there, self included, that you get to certain shades of a color,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really tell even if you have that legend. So now you're looking at it from you can look at it from a color if you can differentiate that, but I can also now just rely on the icon. And
Right.
I think that's really important what they did. I like you said, the color, the transparency, but it also has that little outline with the darker color, like it looks like a blue or a black.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it kind of very crisp feeling. And even the schedule board itself just looks like it blends into that page versus the old one where it looked like it had just a control kind of plopped into the schedule board view itself.
Absolutely. Also, they've added. You can see here if you scroll down to the board 00030, the work order there. You see a little triangle in the top right corner. Now, for those of you who have color deficiencies, that is a red triangle, and according to the priority, that's an emergency work order. So looking at the fact that it has the little clock in the lower right corner tells us that it is a scheduled work order, but it's also giving us an indicator that that's an emergency. So looking at the different priorities, you can see that if there's a triangle in the top corner, that's telling you there's some level of priority there. Obviously, I'm sure there's room for improvement on how we can make that a little more distinguishable for those who have color deficiencies.
Yeah. The thing I like about this as well, Shawn, to your point, is back in the day, right, you still had the color, but no one really knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have it in the legend. So one of the feedback, of course, that I'll give Matt, the product management team, and again, this is still in preview, is, maybe it's not so much a color, but maybe when you get up to emergency or urgent, there's another icon in the corner or something, just from
Right.
that accessibility perspective. But even then, the nice thing, I can still, and again, they're still adding additional features all the time. So even a week ago, we didn't have necessarily some of these buttons here or even some of these functions. So as it's going further and further along, they're adding things to it. They may even change the priority legend for go forward. We don't know, but it just, I really enjoy it. I can now, of course, see like we could last time, I can see my travel time, but
Mhm.
now it's also, instead of in the settings on the board itself, I actually have it in the resource scheduling as a parameter, right? So now I can go ahead and auto update that within the settings versus the schedule board settings, which I'm really enjoying that feature as well.
Exactly. So all in all, a much cleaner UI, a much more palatable experience, faster performance on your actions. You can see there that's much faster than what we were dealing with in the old schedule board, and just overall a much better, improved experience from the field service team on the schedule board. And I can't wait to start using this in earnest on my projects.